What's good, everybody? I have a different type of video today, and we're going to be talking about why I'm scared to play RPG games, moreover, why I avoid them. However, before we even get into that, in 2025, let's just acknowledge the fact that there is so many RPG games to play. If RPGs are your thing, you are not in a drought in today's age. There is so many RPG games I want to play and so many in my backlog. We have the Tales of Fantasia, the Secrets of Mana and that whole series. We have the Phantasy Star games, the Super Mario RPG remake, Baldur's Gate 3, the other Mario RPGs, Octopath Traveler games. We got Final Fantasy, and the ones I'm interested in playing is 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 13. Then we have Expedition 33. Man, I haven't even finished Pokemon Coliseum. Shit, there's just too many games to play before I try to finish Oblivion for the 5th time. Nonetheless, if you don't see where this video is going, when you get older or you just don't have enough time to dedicate to games, RPG games suck the mess out of your time. It seems money and time is something we just don't have enough of nowadays.
There's no time to waste. There's no time at all.
Which, for you gamers, that means you gotta be selective of which game you choose to spend your time playing. But I digress. Things I really like about RPGs is the big massive worlds, the rich story, the characterization of all the characters, mastering the mechanics and the tactics. However, some of those things can definitely be seen in the negative light. More particularly, they are contributors to sucking your sweet, precious time. Thus, we all know RPGs are infamous for how much grinding they have. But sometimes in RPGs, you just be feeling underleveled, and sometimes that's your whole party that's underleveled. You be fighting bosses and you hit them, and sometimes you feel like there's not enough when you attack people. So now you're grinding, you're fighting people, and you out there getting them gains, getting stronger. Which, of course, also is consuming your time. But what I will say about modern RPGs now is a lot of them are getting away from that heavy grind fest. However, I will say that I'm discovering even more older RPGs from retro consoles from this channel called Pixel Bro Lee. Which some of those RPGs he talks about, I definitely want to go check out. And an older RPG probably means more grind. But nonetheless, not only will you have to level up your party or your character, but sometimes you have to level up weapons. Sometimes you have to level up specific summons. It might be your magic. In all, RPG games are just infamous for having a lot of supplemental stuff you also have to level up. Therefore, which brings me to my next point, is sometimes RPGs can give you information overload. With some of these RPGs nowadays, they just have so much shit going on to the point where you can't make the most optimal build because you just don't even care to learn how all that shit works. However, I'm not saying that's the case with all RPGs that have a lot of stuff going on. It's just when you're playing a lot of games that consume your time, you tend to develop that attitude. Even more, some games want to tell you all this stuff all at once so you don't remember it, which is annoying. I tend to prefer my games to explain the mechanics spaced out, or just go ahead and let me figure out the mechanics myself. Which this might seem contradictory, but sometimes it just takes a lot of time to figure out how your skills and attacks work in RPGs. Sometimes you be using moves and you do them and you don't even know what they did, and you have to go look them up online to learn what the move does. Or you get into battles and you have to use the move and experiment to see what it does. Yeah, another thing I like in RPGs, but also is a time consumer, is a lot of your party members have side stories that you can do, and usually you get maybe a legendary armor for them, you get a good weapon for them, or something. I like side stories in RPGs for your characters since it fleshes their characters out. You gotta be careful with RPGs sometimes too, because sometimes they make you do dungeons to get the good loot, or you have to grind to get the good loot. Moreover, this is just such a problem because by the time you wrap up an RPG game, you might be feeling like, I could have used this time to work out, develop a side hustle, make a gaming platform, or find another game that you could play that didn't take as much time to play. Therefore, y'all know what I've been doing. I just started playing RPGs again, and I started playing Expedition 33, and it's a really good game. I love the mechanics, I love the prairies, the dodges, and how challenging it is, but the story in that game is so convoluted, it doesn't make any sense. I'm way past Act 1, and that game just doesn't make any sense, so I dropped it to start playing Final Fantasy VI, a game that's been on my backlog for over a decade. But with that being said, what are some good RPGs you guys recommend I check out? And until next time, y'all, vibe out.